Somebody will be asking now,
Yeah.
what am I going to tolerate? What
Yeah.
should our leaders,
Yeah.
like in the current situation,
Yeah.
what should our leader, what is it that our leader should them really tolerate? And why should they do so in a setup like this? Now in Kenya, for those who are outside this country, you can assist us now, digest this and dissect on the same.
Yeah. I don't know whether you are aware that even as we are seated here, a lot is happening outside there.
Correct.
Even we are having meetings that are taking place, political meetings or gathering almost every weekend. And that is their democratic right, because that is one of the 7 characteristics or features of democracy. The freedom to assemble and to associate.
Yeah.
I think we have to pass a message, whether to the leaders or to the followers that follow the leaders. We have to get to a point where we give time to time.
Okay.
We have to give time. We have to tolerate when things begins to happen the way they are happening right now. We just have a government that came in place in a very few days ago, just a few days ago. We have to tolerate the process, and we have to be willing enough to observe whether this process is leading to where we expected to arrive into. Okay, because people are so in a hurry to conclude that this one is not working. So if it's not working, what are we supposed to do? And that's where now the issues are coming in. That's where the problems are coming in. Because people believe that if it's not working, then we should replace it. And what are the mechanism or maybe the ways of replacing it? And that's where now the problem starts. So if we are ever going to have political stability in our society, or maybe have a democracy that has grown to a point where every voice matters, we have to be able to appreciate that everything requires a process. Everything requires that it has to be processed. So we have to tolerate whatever that is happening right now. We have to tolerate the process. We have to tolerate the process that is happening. Be patient enough to know that whether there is a leader who is doing something that maybe you feel like that is not how it's supposed to be done, give them time. Give them time. Because with the time, we are going to know whether this system is really working or is not working. Without the process, we are never going to have the product. So we have a society that is demanding a product. And they want a product without a process. They are not allowing the manufacturer or whatever that produces the product to take the journey, the process that is supposed to be undertaken for the product to be produced. So from where I sit as a leader, I think we need to tolerate the fact that we have a system that is in power, and everything that is happening happens in process. Number 2, again, we have to also appreciate that now we have a voice outside there that is not speaking for the government, but it is speaking for the people. We have a voice that is speaking for the people. Something that to me, it's very important in every democratic society. You know, if you're going to have Banapol, people that every time you do something, they just clap for you. Every time you do something, they just, give you a shout of, congratulations. Then it will get to a point and you will stop growing. There will be no growth anymore within you. So the government also needs also to tolerate the fact that there is a voice outside there that is now not only correcting and putting check on everything that is happening to the government, but also trying to open the eyes of the people. Trying to open the eyes of the people so that they may know what should be happening or what is supposed to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then you have the right to demand it. So that's from the side of those who are inside and the side of those who are outside, everyone needs to understand that a position that you have, somebody desire to have that position. And they are never going to congratulate you for everything that you are doing. So tolerate their attitude. Tolerate their attitude. Whether the attitude is coming from the place of understanding or the place of misunderstanding, it has to be tolerated for stability and even economically, for a nation to progress and move.
So
Yes.
from what I understand is that
Yeah.
whatever the two sides are doing,
Yeah.
everybody is right.
Everybody is right. In fact, when you look at how things are happening right now, Brother Paul, I don't think that there is anything that has gone beyond how things are supposed to be.
No.
Nothing, because hatujaona tairi zinachoma mahali, hatujasikia mahali kuna duka ya mtu imevunjwa. We are seeing gathering that are coming together, and after the end of the speech they disperse with peace. So to me, that is how it's supposed to be. It is too risky to have a government that is without opposition. It is too risky, because that government is going to do everything that it believes that it's right, even when it's not right. Yeah, and that is not even democracy.
No.
Yeah, it's not democracy. Yeah.
Okay. Then I should clap for the two factions.
Yeah.
And say, really, you're doing your work.
They're doing their job.
They are really doing their job.
Yeah.
My problem will come, what you have just mentioned, my problem will come, and the problem of every other person will come when the tires are now losing,
Yeah.
value. Instead of making VR to choose what to buy, putting them on the road to Choma.
Yeah.
I agree with this. And in fact, the other day I picked, because it's good to get the right thing
Yeah.
to speak. And I picked a very positive word from one Kalonzo Musyoka, who took his almost 2 to 3 minutes talking about maintaining peace. Be a brother's keeper. Don't go around stealing people's things because in the name of attending a rally. So I think it's very important for a government of the day to face an opposition that really puts it on check.
And a leader who cannot stand being corrected, that leader has something wrong with him, because every leader, in fact, it is also from the perspective of the scripture. The scripture says that in the multitude of counsel, plans are established. What that means is that sometimes you can be even advised by people that are opposing you.
Sure.
And if you take whatever they are saying positively and implement it, it's going to work for good on your side. So every leader that really wants to remain relevant in the place of leadership, they will appreciate every voice that comes on their way, whether that voice is coming in a negative way or in a positive way, because that is how leaders remain in power. You have to understand that there are people outside there who are going to capitalize on your mistakes. So if you have nobody that tells you when you go wrong, then an enemy somewhere is taking advantage of that. And there will be a day where you will stand and you will not be able to explain yourself to the people because you couldn't even correct what you were supposed to correct at the right time. So what the opposition is doing, they are doing the right thing. What the government, again, because I didn't hear whether there was a meeting that was cancelled because the government said it cannot happen. Again, the government is sticking very well on their role. What must not happen, Bwana Paul, is to go on the ground there and try to ignite some feelings to the people, where people now start feeling like something more needs to be done, more than what happened or what was done in August. That would be very wrong, because something more than what happened on August, 9th of August, it means that we are going to dethrone a government that has been legally, democratically constituted, and it is in place. And that one cannot happen. I and you know that is impossible. That is impossible. So everything that is happening, it is still within the right, flow. But if it happens that now there will be somebody who comes and they say, okay, you know what, this and this is what is happening. We have witnessed a lot of things happening in Africa. Some countries have attempted even to, to dethrone the sitting presidents, or even to take a motion to the parliament. All those things, there is nothing wrong with that. If those things are being done within the law, within the constitution, there is nothing wrong with that. That is how you know that a country is growing democratically. For example, when we were done with the election, you saw what happened. People disagreed with the decision of electoral whatever, and they went to the court. And according to the Article 160, is it 167 of our Constitution, allows the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in our land, to hear the disputes that concerns the presidential election. And they sat down and they heard and they determined. And after the decision, you saw even those leaders of opposition coming and they said, we disagree with the decision, but we respect. To me, that one sounds like we are growing. We are growing as a society, we are growing. And I think it is from that point that now we didn't see any citizen, any Kenyan going on the field or on the street to do or to demonstrate anything. Because leaders by themselves, they did the right thing. Yes, they did the right thing.
Okay. I think with you.
Yeah.
That up to some level,
yeah,
they did really well.
Yeah.
And I think this is where now our last topic comes.
Yeah.
The rule of law, where now people should respect the rule of law. Because if the courts decide, and that is the highest court.
Yeah. Yes.
And this topic is coming in this context, just to look at what has happened in our country.
Yeah.
In the first place, they accepted. The second time, some whistleblower.
The whistleblower came up.
They came about, and those were there, and they had all the time to check their So the point now is how important should Mwananchi understand the courts and the law, and all that. Now, if you look at what has happened now after the whistleblower, things have gone kind of out of context. In as much as they are doing the right thing, we are actually giving them a thumb.
Yeah.
Is that now look at number one, do you think the resistance that is coming from the opposition is the right thing? Two, do you think by coming up with some conclave, some group of, I don't know how they call themselves, army or so, do you think this thing is healthy to our democracy? And just before we go to...
Yeah. I think we need to answer some few things here. Yes. As citizens or as a country. First of all, Paul, we are never going to have, the rule of law being applicable if the citizens by themselves, they are not the law-binding citizens. It has to start from there. Because when you go outside there, a lot that is happening there is because, and I don't want to really, downplay, that attitude of Kenyans where they believe that we have a wrong system of either judicial when it comes to things to do with the laws. But there is something I have observed personally. There is something I have observed personally. Sometimes even when you cross the border and you go outside, it's very, sad to hear like Kenyans are known with the attitude of breaking the laws.
Yes.
So we can never have the rule of law being applicable or have a society that is well governed by the law if the citizen by themselves are not law-binding citizens. Having said that, I have also to come back and say, again, there is something that we need to promote, something that I feel that is not really well promoted as of now. We have to promote the culture of where everybody is equal before the law. The citizen might be sometimes in a position where they say, if I have a problem, for example, or maybe I'm driving my car outside there, and then something has happened and I get arrested. Instead of allowing this policeman to take me to the maybe police station and then from there to court, let me find a way of shortcutting and peana kitu kidogo and then I get off the hook. Because most of those Kenyans, they believe that we are not equal before the law.
Okay.
There is that belief where the citizen, again, they believe that there are some individuals that will enjoy some special privileges, privileges that are not extended to everybody. So unless we, again, promote the culture where everybody is equal before the law, whether I am an official placed in a high place, even in those, in institution of laws, or maybe I'm just a common citizen on the ground there, when we stand before the law, we have to be sure that we are equal. Because nobody is above the law. If we are not going to promote that kind of culture, then we are going to have a problem in our the way we govern things and the way and it's not because that we don't have the institutions that are strong. I disagree with people that say that the institutions of Kenya are not independent. I disagree. At some point, I disagree with that because we have seen some decision coming from the court, and when you look at that decision. And when you look at the individual that the decision is being made on, you can tell that whoever that was seated on the place of making that decision, he had the freedom of making that decision. They were not under pressure from anybody. But you see, the problem comes where we, the Kenyans, cannot answer some questions. And I want to place those questions. Number one, we have to answer the questions. What kind of a country do we have? What kind of a country do we have currently? And what kind of a Kenya do we wish to have? Those two questions are very important. What kind of a country do we have right now currently? And what kind of a Kenya do we want or do we wish to have? Is it a country that is free from corruption? Is it a Kenya that we are free from illiteracy and poverty? Is it a country that we are free from oppression? Or maybe a country that we are, where the healthcare is affordable? Is it a country where you can wake up tomorrow and go into a place or the office of government and you are served without any discrimination? If that is the country that we want, if that is the Kenya that we want, then promoting the rule of law or the culture of the rule of law is very necessary. Is very necessary. And it has to start with the citizens themselves. It has again to touch with the leadership because again, going back because the subject keeps on taking us back where we started, democracy rests upon the three pillars. Okay. And the first one is the executive. And the second one is the legislature. And the third one is the judiciary and maybe those independent tribunals that will be established. So when we don't have those institutions, or maybe we have them and they are not independent or they are not strong enough, even the things like democracy or the stability of things like having a political stability, they are not going to be easy to achieve. Yes. So institutions that deals with the law by themselves, they have to be legally regulated. Where we have to be sure that when I stand before the law with the man that has money or maybe is in power and I am just an ordinary citizen there, I must be in a position where I feel that we are equal. You can imagine when you have a problem with somebody who can just be represented by 5 lawyers. And you yourself, you cannot even afford one. You cannot even afford one. Even getting yourself to the place where you can hire a lawyer is a problem. Okay? So at that point, there has to be an assurance that everybody that comes before the law is below the law. And the law is above. If that is the culture that we are going to subscribe into, then the rule of law is going to be a dream that is very possible to achieve.